this morning. The Albertina built performance car of the ex-South African 2.1 Hotrod champion, should I say, is Hendrikus Porter. What a good with the 24 car. He had a bit of a pain on the driver's side last night as well. Managed to get that car sorted out overnight. And then in addition to the cars that are here,
London. Good evening and very welcome to SAOL South African Open League as things shape up to be an exciting evening, full with exciting racing as we get off the practice round for the time being. Guys in this race looking up for a good race, as I can see the names coming in on the right hand side and the left hand side on your view. Meintjes, obviously number 1 in 91 position, and you'll see he has a good time over there of 13.65 seconds, and trying to get everything out of this track and getting the much needed practice as he gets off to proceedings on this wonderful evening. Now this track is a very good track. I'm pretty sure they'll have a wonderful evening just trying to get the better of their opponents as this race continues throughout the evening. Thank you for watching and joining us this evening. I'm pretty sure you will have an amazing night. So number 15 number, Jason Loosemore, with a time of 13.85 being his best lap time. SAFA Security Fencing and Alarms, the sponsor of his vehicle this evening. He'll be looking to impress his sponsors as well. And if we continue looking through the track, we'll see number 245, Steve, with trying to get everything sorted in this practice round. Of course, everything needs to be calibrated, and the technicalities, of course, of every car needs to be pinpoint accurate as they try and get everything up and ready to go on this Thursday night. Taking a look at Rudy Graham, and he's riding in 119, the blue and green car. Takes that turn, of course, National Hotrod Tour GKRD for the racing developments, his sponsor this evening. Doing good with a lap time of approximately 13.93. Yeah, 14.113 seconds. Best time held at the moment by Meintjes at 13.65. He'll be trying to improve that as the race goes on, but I'm looking at a 13 sharp as the times keep on getting better. Tim Close just currently standing on the sidelines, just getting everything up and running on his end. I'm pretty sure he wants to make a big name for himself this evening as the race almost ticks off in the practice rounds with about 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Taking a look at Leyland Myberg, he is just trying to get his car up and going as he makes sure the race gets off to a good start. All the drivers in this evening will be looking for the best lap times as they try and get to the best position. With about 10 seconds left on the practice round, everybody is really ready to go. Drivers already standing in the waiting position on the sidelines. Just a few cars still on the track as they finish up with their lap times. This evening is going to be an exciting one, and I am ready to go on my end, so stay tuned. So just after these adverts, we'll get back straight into the action. Welcome back. If you're just joining us this evening, this is the SAOL South African Oval League, and the car currently on the track, Martin Meintjes, trying to get his well-deserved practice in for this evening. It's going to be an exciting evening. I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it with me as I commentate from my end. Good evening, my name is Charles Wenger, and I'll be your host throughout this evening. Martin Meintjes with a time of 13.73 seconds, driving the number 91, and this will be an exciting one for him. He's trying to do his best to get into a good pole position as we reach the first round of the qualifiers. As we shape up and getting ready for this evening's proceedings, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Thank you very much, and Vivid IT for sponsoring, as well as Aquaman and the proceeding sponsors with them. At the moment, Martin Meintjes on the track as he will start off with his qualifying time. That's why at the moment he's the only vehicle you'll be able to see on the tracks. So he's just trying to make everything as smooth as possible. Those little small details in everything he's doing out there will make a big difference in the rest of the evening's races. So I'm pretty sure you will also enjoy it with me as we gear up for an exciting evening. So with 40 seconds left on this qualifying track, the track is in Kimberley. You're looking at the big hole track, and with that name, it's going to be a big race. So I'm very excited for this evening's race, and I'm pretty sure the drivers as well, they will have a spectacular time out there. Discipline will be very important and on the forefront on everybody's minds as the clock counts off with about 15 seconds left on this qualifying round. So Meintjes also knows that with a nice lap time of 13.64 seconds. So that brings us to the end of this qualifying lap. After the ad break, we'll get back straight into the action.
built for Hernus car of the ex-South African 2.1 Hotrod champion, should I say, is Hendrikus Water. What a curve in the 24th car. He had a bit of a pain on the other side last night as well. Managed to get that car sorted out overnight. And then in addition to the cars that are here.
London.
So welcome back if you're just joining us this evening. This is going to be a big exciting race as the cars on the track just warming up those tires and getting more familiar with those short turns. A bit longer track than the previous race, but I can tell you now it's going to be as close as ever, with the drivers just making sure that everything goes according to plan. We're still in one of the practice rounds with about 45 seconds left on the clock as we take a look at Steve, who's just making those quick time laps count in his favor this evening. Tim Close on the other end trying to best that time he has previously put up with about a lap time of 13.89. I've seen him do much better, and I can promise you it's going to be much better on this race. And that takes us to the end of the practice lap, and we get ready for the big one, the first heat of this competition. The drivers up and ready for this evening's races. I'm excited to get off to a good start with them, as this race will shape up to be something to be looking at from a close angle, as the drivers are also ready and gearing up for this spectacular race. Hernus Stadler there with 146 in the first pole position, then Martin Meintjes second up front with him. Tim Close, of course, from Germany, just in the third, and we'll take a look at Dennis Knutzer there in the fourth, cars in the front. At the back, of course, Adam Turner from England, Steve and Toby Engelbrecht and Rudy Graham at the back of the pack. Pretty sure all the drivers know it's going to be a great race, and they are ready to go. As soon as the lights fire, we'll get up and going. About 40 seconds left on the clock. The drivers just making those last minute preparations, or should I say last second preparations, as this lap of 20 will be very defining. I can promise you the first few laps will be a very, very big outcome and challenge for this evening's race. We'll hope it goes as smooth and clean as possible, but anything can happen on this track. The lights are on the screen right now, starting ready and gearing up as they fire on all cylinders. Drivers up and ready as they take off with the proceedings on this one, on this evening's race. Good evening and welcome as we get off running. Dennis Knutse just touching on this first lap. Drivers holding their discipline as they make sure they keep in line with each other. Very close contest as the race keeps going on from the start. Martin Meintjes still in the first position at the moment as the first lap comes to an end. Tris driving a good old position there. Dennis Knutse is still in third position. There's going to be a challenge between him and Tim Close. I can see it already as the drivers keep on going further and further as they know they need to make those time laps count. If you take a look at number 3, Dennis Knutse, third position, Tim Close in fourth, and then Adam Turner, the internationals, sharing those pole positions between 4th and 5. Battles behind the scenes as we look at Leluan Meiberg. He's in the 7th position currently, and Rudy Graham on 8th, and Toby Engelbrecht at the back of the pack in the 8th position. The big race, as of course, in the front as these drivers are holding their discipline this evening. Very good racing, and these will be the little things that count as this race continues. Martin Meintjes with a lap time of approximately 12.98 seconds, as 30.87 rather, as he knows he needs to keep a good lead, and the contest still growing in front as Arno Stadler with a lap time of 13.9 seconds closes in on Martin Meintjes in the first position. Of course, Dennis Knutse third, almost at a time of 30.97, and Tim Close in fourth position, 30.99. So this race also looking very good here in the middle. We see a little bit of a problem. It looks like Adam Turner has shot down out of this race. We'll check on him soon, but at the moment it looks like Toby Engelbrecht has jumped up to the 7th or 8th position. So Martin Meintjes still in front, looking to lead the pack this evening, trying to improve that lap time at 13.88 seconds as we see the closest to him at the moment between the battle between Dennis Knutse and Arno Stadler. This is the contest we'll be looking at closer this evening as they get up to very close to each other. And of course, if we look at the number 4th position, Tim Close, and Steve, the other contest at the back of the pack. These 5 cars already shaping up for this evening's proceedings. Taking a look at the back of the pack, we see Leland Meiberg at number 27 in the 6th position, and Rudy Graham in 7th. Toby Engelbrecht keeping the back of the pack alive in the 8th position with the number 8 car. So still Martin Meintjes trying to improve that lap time, still 13.92 his best at the moment, but the battle here of course between Dennis Knutse and Arno Stadler as they try to overtake one another in the 2nd and 3rd positions. At the moment, Martin just needs to keep his position in front in the 1st position as the action seems to be between 2 and 3, and of course between 4 and 5 as Tim Close and Steve are in those battling positions. Still in front of the pack, Martin Meintjes keeping a leveled head on him, trying to get his position and trying to improve his lap time. This lap time, of course, 14.18, a little slower than the rest, but he's in 1st position, so that will be the last of his problems. But of course, Arno Stadler and Dennis Knutse, the big battle between 2nd and 3rd position. Look at the back of the pack. Steve is in 4th position with the rivalry here at the moment. Tim Close with the number 89 car. His lap time for this one was 14.26 as Steve's one was 14.22. So the battle is still up and going as we go to the 18th lap this evening as Martin Meintjes still in the 1st position, comfortably 1st. Arno Stadler on his backside with a time very close to him as the 19th lap comes and almost is at an end. Dennis Knutz is still in third position. Steve and Tim Close fourth and fifth. And of course, Level Mywork still keeping the number 6 position strong. Rudy Graham 7th and Toby Engelbrecht 8th. As the last lap gears up, Martin Meintjes will finish in the first place. So he will be very thrilled after that clean start as he goes through the checkered flag. Arno Stadler on his backside. And of course, there's Kusnet finishing in third position. Lap times comes to an end. It's been a good race. Very clean race. The closest we had to any incidents was between Arno Stadler and Dennis Knutzer. So the guys lining up with the lap times. Martin Meintjes finishing up with 4 minutes 42 seconds. Pretty close to under 5 minutes exactly. And I think he will take much confidence from that perfect race. So just after the ad breaks, we'll be back for the second heat of the competition.
This morning, the Albertini built the Hernus car, the ex-South African 2.1 Hotrod champion, should I say, is Hendrikus Porter. What a good with the 24 car, he had a bit of a rain on the other side last night as well. Managed to get that car sorted out overnight, and then in addition to the cars that are here.
London.
Welcome back to the practice round of the SAOL, the South African Oval League, and welcome this evening. I'm your host, Charles Wenger. We are going into the second heat of the competition as Martin Meintjes finished in the first position in the previous heat, and he'll be looking to keep his lap times well and above to keep those third and second first pole positions in the running for this evening. It's going to be a close one, I'm pretty sure, in this practice round as the drivers get everything up and ready, making those small changes to those engines, the tires of course, and they know this is a very, very big race and they want to get the best of it. I just want to compliment the drivers. It was a very, very clean race and they did exceptionally well. So as the practice round comes to an end, the drivers are gearing up for this evening's second heat of the competition. And I know they want to get the best of this, so they need to get everything pretty much sorted for this second heat of the competition. So that takes us to the end of the practice round as the drivers are now getting into their starting positions for the second heat of the competition. If you're joining us this evening, very welcome. You're looking at or you're watching the SAOL live stream from right here in South Africa. Very warm welcome on our internet for our international viewers as we have some internationals within the confines of this race. Tim Close starting in the first position. As we know, in the second heat, it's a reverse of the standings. And the drivers know it as well, so it's an opportunity for them to try and finish off strong and start off strong in the second heat of the competition. Of course, 20 laps in this one as well. Tim Close, the German, of course, in the first position with the number 89. Then Meiberg in the second position with the number 27 car. Hernus started third and Dennis Klutzer fourth. It'll be exciting to see if those two go on with this rivalry. If they started early in the first heat of the competition. Martin Meintjes finishing in the first position. He'll be looking to try and get valuable pole position in the second heat. And of course, Rudy Graham and Steve in seventh, and Toby Engelbrecht, number 8 in the 8th position. He'll be looking to get those numbers higher, trying to finish up close to the 4th and 5th position. Well, about 40 seconds left on the clock, the drivers in their starting positions. I must be honest with you, if we look at the proceedings, they know the second heat is one of the most taxating on their physical bodies and mental states, as this really is the round if you want to advance to the third heat of the competition. The big one, right after this second heat. With 10 seconds left on the clock, 20 laps to go in the second heat, and they know it as the drivers start revving up those engines and they need to get off to a good start. Hopefully everything will go clean. Drivers up and going, and we're off as Tim Close still in the first position, Dennis Klutzer second, Martin Meintjes third, coming up in this third position as they know they need to get those clean starts up and about. The battle starts in front as they take over that first lap round. Taking a closer look at the proceedings, the first lap comes to a close end as Tim Close, Dennis Klutzer and Martin Meintjes battle for the first position. At the moment, Dennis Klutzer is in first. Tim Close coming in the center middle track, going for the first, but manages to stay well inside as the third lap closes in. A little bit of a touch there, but Dennis Klutzer still manages the first position. Tim Close coming in at the first side. This is going to be a very good one. He takes the first position. Martin Meintjes still in third. And if we take a look at the back, we see Rudy Graham in fourth and Meiberg in fifth position, but the battle definitely up front front between the top three contenders in this race. Tim Close, the German international, in first position at the moment. Dennis Knutzer still in second. He was in first for a little bit. Martin Meintjes keeping well inside, not touching. Oh, he's so close over there, but he still keeps in position. Looks very, very close and very, very good indeed as the drivers shape up for the fifth lap of the second heat. So definitely action in the second, third and first positions this evening as we took a look a little closer at number 4 and 5. A little bit of gaps between them. Myberg and Steve doing well to keep clear of each other. Graham still in 6th position. Arno Standler in 7th and Toby Engelbrecht in the 8th position. Looking at front, we'll see the battle still commences between the top 3. Tim Close still in 1st position and keeping that 1st position as we take a look at Dennis Knutzer and Martin Meintjes, who are battling for the 2nd and 3rd positions. Very close indeed as they take that lap in the corner. Martin Meintjes doing well and he shoots past Dennis Knutzer into the 2nd position. Well done, Martin. He's still keeping very close, but Dennis Knutzer takes the outside track rather, and he's still in 2nd position. Shortcomings for Martin Meintjes, but still well within reach of the top 3 positions. Myberg coming in close on the back of Meintjes, and he knows he is also in for the running as Steve lines up his targets as well, doing very, very good to try and catch up with the pack, and he almost takes over Myberg in the 4th position, but the battle definitely here between Dennis Knutzer, Martin Meintjes and Tim Close as they try and get top pole positions and try to go in the outside track, but managing to keep a close one on this. Oh, very close indeed. Dennis Knutzer still in the 2nd position as Tim Close has to relinquish position. Dennis Knutzer in the 1st position after that one. Oh, bit of a sidetrack there. Goes and nudges him into the inside track, and now he needs to get stabilized. Oh, so close there. The action really escalating in the front pack. Dennis Knutzer now in 1st position, doing very, very well to keep himself in the race and the 1st. Taking a closer look at Martin Meintjes, still doing the 2nd position, and Tim Close, oh, he's livid with himself as he shoots to 3rd position. So close in the first 2, but manages to keep in 3rd place. Rudy Graham still in 5th, looking good. Steve and Toby Engelbrecht, they in 6th and 7th, but Myberg has been shot out of this race. He is out of commission. We'll check on him shortly. Dennis Knutzer doing well in the 15th lap, still with the best time or lap time of 13.9, and Martin Meintjes close behind in 2nd position. Tim Close in 3rd with the lap time of 13.93. Lots of action this evening as the 2nd heat of the race is almost done with 17 laps done and dusted. 3 laps to go, and number 3, of course, Tim Close. He did well to stabilize himself, getting back onto the track after that little bit of hiccup, which he was almost taken out, but well done as the 3 remain the top 3 as Dennis Knutzer is in 1st position, Martin Meintjes 2nd, and Tim Close of Germany in 3rd position. Taking a look at 4th and 5, of course, this is another battle on our hands. Rudy Graham and of course Arno Standler, they still need those lap times. Still the battle commences as Rudy tries to sneak up on Rudy Graham, but he keeps a very good following. And looking back in the first position, of course, number 1 is Dennis Knutzer with a good lap time in this round of 14. And we take a look at Martin Meintjes, who also crosses the checkered flag in number 2 and Close in number 3. Standler 4th, and Steve will finish in the 5th position. Rudy Graham 6th, Toby Engelbrecht 7th, and Myberg is out of this one. A very good battle in the front between Dennis Knutzer, Martin Meintjes, and Tim Close. They will take much confidence as we move into the last one, the big one for this evening. Stay tuned after the ad breaks. We'll be back and straight into the action.
This morning, the Albertini Unbuilt Performance car of the ex-South African 2.1 Hotrod champion, should I say, is Hendrikus Porter. What a good with the 24 car. He had a bit of a pain on the other side last night as well. Managed to get that car sorted out overnight. Basson into the cars that are here.
London.
Welcome back to SAOL, the South African Oval League this evening, filled with exciting races and battles on the tracks. If you're just joining us, a very warm welcome. We're live here from the Big Hole in Kimberley, as this track is very, very good for the drivers, as we've had a very clean race so far. The drivers, of course, they know this is the big one, the final, as it approaches, and they know this is what matters now, trying to get first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And to know, of course, that this track is really, really up and running. The drivers, of course, trying to get the last few seconds of this practice round before they get off to proceedings. And they know that every little thing counts now to get the best positions. Thanks once again for our sponsors for this evening's race, Fibbit IT, Aquaman, and the rest of the preceding sponsors. Thank you very much, as they make it possible for us to start these streams and races for you. Also, a big thanks to LM Diversity Spares for sponsoring us this evening, as we take a little closer look at some clothes going out of the big one over there, hitting the barricade. But of course, just is this little practice round as the racers get off to get ready for this big one, the final round of this competition. Every little thing counts, and they know they need to make everything count. The driver's getting ready to shift into position for this race, and I'm excited with them, and I'm excited with you to see what will be happening. Will we have another close contest? Well, of course we will. So stay tuned as the drivers shift into their starting positions. So the drivers are on the grid for this final race. Of course, 25 laps as opposed to the 20 laps of the first heat and second heat. We've had some close battles this evening between Dennis Knutzer, Martin Meintjes, Tim Close, and don't forget about Arno Stadler and Myberg, as well as Rudy Graham, because those battles in the middle, those are big as well, because each driver, of course, trying their utmost best. Well, I do apologize for some technical issues this evening as we try to get everything up and ready for the final big race of this evening. After a few ads, we'll be back with everything up and going, so please stay tuned.
this morning. The Albertina built the Flawless car on the ex-South African 2.1 Hotrod champion, should I say, is Hendrikus Porter. What a good with the 24 car. He had a bit of a pain on the other side last night as well. Managed to get that car sorted out overnight. And then in addition to the cars that are here.
London.
So welcome back to SAOL, South African Open League, as we get off to the final race for this evening. The technical issues are under control as we try and get ready for this final race of the evening as the practice round comes to an end. So the drivers will of course be trying to get into those first 3 pole positions, of course, and they will try everything they can to get those positions. So the drivers join the grid, and we are almost ready to go through every single one of them. We of course know Dennis Knudsen in the first position here, Martin Meintjes second pole position, Tim Close third, Arno Stadler in 4th, and if we take a look in the middle of the pack, Myberg is in 5th, Graham in 6th, then Steve and Toby Engelbrecht in the 7th and 8th positions. The drivers know this is the big one, and they will try everything they can to make those pole positions count and get into those top 3. So Dennis Knudsen and Martin Meintjes had an exciting battle in the second heat of the competition, and Tim Close almost walking away with the first and second, but a little bit of a nudge there in the middle, and he was unfortunately out of the first and second positions, but he did very, very well to keep the 3rd position alive. Can't forget about the battles in the middle with Rudy Graham and Steve also trying to get the better of each other. Very clean race we had so far this evening. The first heat and the second heat of the competition really went off smooth. If we want this one as well to keep on going, I'm pretty sure the drivers know they need to keep it clean and smooth, and of course get those first, second and third positions. The race almost getting underway with about less than 20 seconds on the clock. The drivers, they know it, they feel it, they want to win. And the lights are on, and they are getting ready to be set for this one. The driver's getting off. Martin Meintjes still in 5th position. Dennis Knudsen second. Arno Stadler going in 3rd. The first turn of this lap going very, very well. And as I say it, it's going to be a battle in front again between these 3 drivers. Dennis Knudsen sneaking in the 1st position. Arno Stadler in 2nd. And of course, Tim Close still in the 3rd position, but doing well. But the battle, of course, here in the front between these 2 racers, Arno Stadler and Dennis Knudsen, really going at it in the 1st and 2nd positions, but the drivers in the back as well. Steve and Rudy Graham are doing well there in the 5th position, but keeping here because the battle up front is definitely worth watching. Arno Stadler and Dennis Knudsen well trying to prove to each other who is going to be in the 1st position as they go on through the laps. Tim Close still well in control in the 3rd position, but this right here in front, this is where it's at between number 1 and number 2. Dennis Knutzer and Hernus trying to figure out who is going to make a mistake first and who's going to overturn one another as Hernus gets closer to the first position as Dennis Knutzer still manages to keep the first position alive. Tim Close still in third, well and well, and then at number 4 and 5, pretty big gap between those two as they keep on the race from the back end. Toby Engelbrecht in the 6th position, Myberg 7th, and then of course Martin Meintjes has fallen out of this one. We'll take a look at that as soon as we stabilize, but between the two in front, Dennis Knutzer and Hernus the race is still well and well away. Very close indeed between these two. Lap time of 13.9 seconds for the first one of the 8th lap, and Hernus inching between the 2nd position, trying to get into the 1st position. Of course, this is very, very close. Each of the drivers are trying to maintain as much discipline as they can between these two. Of course, we look at Tim Close. He's well trying to miss that one over there. He did well to keep out of reach of that one. But of course, Steve and Rudy Graham, this is also a battle to watch as Tim Close still in the 3rd position this evening. Very close contest as they try and battle for the 1st and 2nd positions irregardless. So of course, if we take a look at Rudy Graham, oh, bit of a knock there, bit of a knock, turn to the barricade. He's in the barricade. Toby Engelbrecht has hit the barricade. He's okay, but that will of course be a factor as the close one there from Dennis Knutzer. He just manages to keep in line, but that unfortunately costs him, and Hernus takes advantage of that little bit of invasive maneuvers to get into the 1st position. Tim Close now in 3rd position, trying to battle Steve coming on the inside, and he does a miraculous turnover as he goes into 3rd position. Tim Close baffled by that one, but Rudy Graham still in the 5th position, but this very, very close indeed. Steve pulls off the takeover to go into the 3rd position. Back in front, still Dennis Knutzer in 2nd after leading the pack for the majority of the race. In 1st, Hernus doing well. He was on his tail this whole race, and he took advantage of that little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the track, but still a 3rd position going strong as Steve overtook Tim Close, the German, in 4th position now. He'll be trying his best to keep in the 3rd position as he tries to inch ever closer. Rudy Graham still looking good in number 5th. Lilwin Myberg still in the 6th position. Toby Engelbrecht trying to recover from that hit earlier, but of course the front runners still in the race as they go for the 17th lap. This is definitely a very, very heated contest as Hernus still keeps in the 1st position. Dennis Knutzer still hanging in there, trying to get as close as he can to keep the 1st and 2nd positions alive this evening. Steve still in 3rd position as the rest of the drivers. Tim Close in 4th. Rudy Graham trying to battle, still there in front, trying not to interfere with the true in front. Of course, Hernus is still in Dennis Knutzer. He'll just try to keep out of their perspectives. So of course, if we look at the battles here at the end between Myberg and Engelbrecht, those two are still in the race and they will try to get the best lap times that they possibly can. So if we go through the race in the rear view mirror, you can see Dennis Knutzer trying his best to overtake Stadler, but not getting the opportunity as far. Hopefully it will present itself if he has any chance of finishing in the 1st position. As the 20th lap comes to an end, they know these final 5 laps are all in. They're in it to win it, and they know this, of course, and they are really getting close as Steve still far behind the pack in front, but he will be excited about that takeover. And of course, Tim Close, he needs to capitalize and try to get in as close as possible. Oh, he hits. It's a close hit in there. That will be a very, very big hit over there. And it looks like Myberg is still well in it, but unfortunately that will not look good for the rest of the race. Tim Close now in the 3rd position after that knock. Hernus, he was leading the pack in the 1st position. Now he's shooted to 5th. He will be very furious with that knock as Dennis Knutzer manages to go back into the 1st position, and Steve now moves to the 2nd position. He has a lap time of 14.4, his best, or rather his best so far. But Dennis Knut on his last lap, he will be smiling as fortune has followed him from a second to third to second to first position. But of course, Hernus furious as he gets knocked out from the first position. Dennis Knut finishing with a time of 5.55 seconds. Steve coming in second place. Then, of course, Simplo's in the third position. Rudy Graham fourth. Hernus fifth position, Myberg sixth, Engelbrecht in at seventh, and Meintjes dropped out of this competition. So hard luck for Hernus Stadler there. He was well in front. The battle was exciting, but that little bit of mishap in the center of the track unfortunately cost him the first position. Thank you very much for watching this evening's proceedings as the final comes to an end. This was SAOL South African Oval League. We look forward to seeing you in the next race. A very big thanks to our sponsors, of course, Vivid IT. A very big thanks to Aquaman, as well as B&B Paving, and the rest of the sponsors this evening. I've been your host, Charles Venga. Can't wait to see you next time.